Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to see you guys here today. Your faces make me very happy. One thing about this business is there's always like new things that come up where it stretches you and you learn and you grow. So I'm going through a little bit of that today, and probably it's gonna come out in different places as I'm learning and growing through a situation. Anyway, what did I want to talk about today? I wanted to talk about first of all, just making sure everyone is inviting people to the Healthy Happy Hour tonight. It's going to be virtual. It's going to be streamed in all of our communities. And I'm really excited because Julie Marks and I are co-hosting it together. And we are going to go live into Healthy Happy Hour. So that should be really kind of a cool experience to have that part in it. We have a couple people sharing their stories, and then we have people cooking some different things in different areas of the country. So I just really recommend sending invites and talking to your team about sending invites. And then after the fact, following up, seeing what people liked about it. And we're going to have the video available, so you could even send it to people who weren't able to make it on, so you could follow through in case they can't catch it live. So it will be recorded, and it'll also be streamed into all of our communities. So there are a lot of different ways you can get to show it to people, tagging them or taking the video and sending it if you want to touch them in that way. I'm a big believer in those soft touch points. And just to give you an idea of something that I've been doing in my business is that, and I recommend this for you guys too. I had a coach who's no longer coaching, and her clients rolled up to me. So I am introducing myself and inviting them to this Healthy Happy Hour. So that's a really great thing for you guys to think about doing if you've had that in your organization. Or I have another area of the business where I have a coach who has coaches that are not very active, and she is doing the inviting on behalf of them. And she actually said, I saw in her team message threads, she was letting her coaches know that she was going to be doing this, and then asking them if anything develops from it, or are you interested in coaching these clients? Because these are some coaches that are not really active. So it's just a nice way, a softer approach and an actual tangible thing to say, hey, are you going to invite your clients, or should I invite your clients? Or, and then again, just sort of touching upon, what's going on in the business. It seems as though there's been a lot of people kind of like not renewing, who are not kind of really in it. And we have to be really, really careful with all these random clients that are out there in the world thinking they don't have a coach anymore. I'm finding a lot of people are, I think I say this pretty much in every FIBC call, because I do, it's been going on for months, but it's going, this is so crucial right now, leading into the new year, that you start to build relationships with these people. So one person who was a client not actively on program right now under the coach who's no longer coaching, I spent the time, it took like an hour. I put all of the clients into Reach, into my contacts, before I could even put them into the Reach app. I had to enter all of that, and I labeled them as a group in the Reach app as so-and-so's clients, the person who's no longer coaching. And so one of the people responded back, was really interesting. He said, I'm actively doing an exercise program right now, but I think I'm going to return to OptiVia around the new year. So now I have that information. And he actually, it's funny because my next step was to figure out who all these people are on Facebook and friend all the people. But he actually said, what's your name on Facebook? I want to follow you. And then he started to look at my page, and he said, he messaged me and he said, how long have you been coaching for? And I responded, it's going to be 5 years this month. And I responded with that. And I think that it's interesting because a lot of these coaches that kind of weren't like really in it are like, their clients like to go to somebody who's really in it, if that makes any sense, So I think he was trying to understand, am I a fly by the night coach, or do I have a million different businesses, or is this what I'm doing? And I was able to say, this is my one and only. And I've been doing it for 5 years. And I actually wrote something about, how I really enjoy spending my time, helping people, supporting people and achieving their goals. It's a great way to spend time. And so it was well received. He sent me like a heart back, and I just, I think, again, we're in that relationship business. So you want to really think about all of these people that are sort of out there thinking they don't have a coach, and on teaching your teams how to do that as well. Because I do believe there are a lot of EDs out there who don't even think about this sort of thing, who maybe have a coach who had 3 clients and that person's not coaching or not really engaged. We need to make sure we're stepping in and building relationships in those places so that we don't lose these people to other places, because that's what's going to happen in a few months for sure. So I encourage you to do that, which leads me into a topic that I've been talking to people about a lot lately, EDs and how EDs and whether they should be training their new coach, I guess is kind of where it goes. Like in our model, when somebody hits ED, they train their new coach. But that being said, a lot of EDs really don't have the skill set totally down yet, or they're not fully engaged in our business enough to really make sure they're capturing all the steps. Even in the best case scenario, I am fully engaged and still I miss steps. So if somebody has another job, they're definitely missing certain steps. So what you really want to make sure when these EDs who have coaches under them, you really want to make sure the number one most important thing that can be going on is that they're using their team messenger thread for everything when they're training their new coach. And if you don't see something in there on a very regular basis, start to get inquisitive in their messenger thread and say, hey, I remember your new coach Sally just came on, how many clients does she have and what's going on with that? And if you're not seeing the person like trained on scheduling, the share calls or learning how to say, hey, because I usually send something to a new coach saying, you're going to get your scale picture on Monday from all your new clients. And I want to hop on a call really quick and explain what the next step is before you respond to their scale picture. That's usually I do that over the weekend usually. And I just did it with the 2 new coaches I'm working with, and I captured them both. One of them was like Monday morning early before she went into work, but when she got the schedule, she's like, don't respond yet. And we got on a call, and I said, I'm going to tag you in this information in Total Health on how to set up a tip call, but I want to verbally explain it to you right now of what this is. And I always use the line, because this really is the truth for my business. Tip calls are what built my business. And I explain the importance of them and the importance of capturing them at week 1. But an ED who has a new coach might not be zoned in on this. And all of a sudden weeks go by and you're like, oh my God, they're 3 weeks in and we never taught them how to do a tip call. So, I see that as an area that we can kind of tighten up a little bit. So that's why I'm saying that to you. So you can kind of zone in on that from, as something to think about. Okay, let's see what else are my notes. Another thing that you can do when you're researching clients that are under either a coach who's still there but not active, or when they roll up to you, is put their names in your community page and see if those clients are ever talking about anything in your page, because sometimes we can miss opportunities with that. Something I should let you know, this doesn't apply to everyone in this group, but I'm gonna kind of say it because it sort of does. So when Total Health got really big, I was no longer able to give what I call leads, like so-and-so is inviting a friend to the group, because it just was, there was like too many of them. And anytime I try to look somebody up, it takes me a very long time to get the information, because when your business gets bigger, connect gets slower. So we stopped that as a service, but now that 2 major new groups have now left, we are offering that as a service again, because the group is 14,000. So it's much more manageable and we're able to connect people. So I don't know if people who have broken off are doing that service or not. I do think you either spot something that's not being duplicated correctly, so in certain situations, because you could tighten that up, or it's a potential lead. So, and it can liven, it livens some area of the business up. The other day, I was like, oh, I remember when I used to be able to do this, because, and now there's only a few a week, not because the group is smaller. I just want to let you know that we're starting that. We did Anna's on maternity leave, if you don't know that. So Sierra has been working with me, and Sierra did a post about that in the group, that we're offering that again. And that's the reason why. I'll do it as long as we can do it, but if it gets big again and there's too many, it's too cumbersome. But it is a reason why, for all of you guys, you have the ability to see a lot of that if you're watching the the notifications. You can, and so you can see if it's related to you. You know, you can take a look. If you're seeing the notification, Sally tried to add Lori to the group, and you know that you have to know that these people are clients. Like, so you might have done a tip call with the person though, who knows? So it's a spot to look at, it's definitely something to look at. All right. So back to a couple more things I wanted to say about the EDs in terms of helping an ED with a new coach. So I mentioned being active in Messenger. That's the number one thing. The other thing is, are they, and I know people are going to talk about this, a big thinker, are they matching the new coach properly? Whether they're giving, and we use the analogy and they're going to use this, are they throwing too many things at them? Or are they like matching through, they throw the ball one way and it comes back to you the other way? Are they kind of getting that correct? Because as a mentor to this ED, let's say, you want to kind of, behind the scenes, not in front of the new coach, step in and say, hey, that might have been a lot of information for that new coach, like in a long blurb, I find that it's more effective to give a little bit at a time and make sure that they do something and then go back with the next thing. So you want to try to teach them the cadence, if you will, how to just get that down, because that's not natural for a lot of people. They're either giving too much or too little information is what I find typically. So it's a skill set. And and it's kind of like almost like our job to help train that ED in that skill set, if you will, if you're looking at what your role is. That's how I look at that. You also want to even go as far as to look at the brand new coaches Facebook page and see if the ED is giving feedback. Things like, are they responding to comments? Are the posts set to public? Are they doing a nice variety of posts? Suggestions, or like, what do you see that potentially could help that brand new coach? And you suggest it not necessarily to the brand new coach, but to the ED who's training that new coach. I'm just sort of saying this because a lot of this has been coming up lately, so I'm hoping that it can help other people. One other thing on this topic is, and this could be not necessarily even just training an ED, but it could kind of come up in general. And I know it just kind of happened this morning. I'm training a new coach. We don't know the conversations that they're necessarily having with their clients or potential clients. We don't know how much or how little or what's going on, right? So I would get curious in that area. We have a new coach on the team. I just did her senior coach celebration call. A lot of things spilled out that she was out at an event with her husband and texting clients and potential clients with like really long responses for somebody interested in the program because she's so excited, right? And that's normal that people will be like that. But sometimes, what I say to them is, you don't want to spend all this time in Messenger going back and forth with this potential client. If they have that many questions, bring them back to another call, or bring them back to a call with me, with the person training you if they're not fully trained, yet, on that sort of thing. You want to ask them what kind of conversations that are taking place that you're not seeing. All kinds of crazy things come out. So again, just get really, really, really curious and ask about conversations and say, how are you responding to that? And that way you can kind of have a natural dialogue. One thing I had this morning, this is funny, new coaches get those handouts in their kit. I learned that one of the new coaches I had gave one of those handouts about Optavia to her potential client. So she had all this information before we even got on this share call because it came in the kit. And not only that, it carried over to, I was just training her on the new order, on how to do an order. And she's like, well, so-and-so gave me a list of what they want because they've been all over the website. So all of a sudden, it was like all these things, like she's like, oh, this is what I want in my first order, because she went and reviewed it because she had that handout. So you might want to, if I didn't get curious, I wouldn't have captured how that all came about. So you might want to say something like, hey, you're going to get some material. We're really, we don't really use a lot of that. We don't really want our clients or potential clients to have all this information before we get on a share call because, a few things. One, they might go order by mistake and it might not be under you. Two, they might come to the call. They might not come to the call, right? Because they might find out something that turns them off. Or three, your first order is going to to be really complicated because they've been all over and they're going to tell you what they want. So I would train that new coach on how to make it not about the food. So anyway, again, get curious, and start to ask, questions, and things when you kind of like, I'm like, how did she know the fuelings? Like, I was like, what is going on here? How did she come up with that list? Okay. Okay, so the other stuff that I wanted to talk about is more about mindset. And the reason was, I kind of alluded to it at the beginning of the call, like something happened this morning that really took me out of my game, like totally took me out of my game. It distracted me. And like, I realized after how much I lost, like 2 hours, of my day, which I really didn't have that time today to lose 2 hours. So, when I recognized it, I started to use some of like the skills that I have from my past life of meditate. I actually stopped. I meditated. I was having a little bit of a hard time doing it. I started exercising. I was about to go out and take a walk just to clear my head. And I just want to make sure that this business, sometimes things come up in all different ways, shapes, and forms. And a lot of having success on this business is controlling what you can control, which is how you think about things and how you show up. So, because we're so front and center and so public, the more publicly you are, the more potential things could take place. So, I encourage you, if you're ever having an issue, to come to your mentor. I called Susie. I really did. I called my coach, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to talk this over with you. And I just use your resources and then minimize, if you can, recognize when it's time to shut it off and not add more energy to something. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And I was reading in Dr. A's In the Life book this morning about focusing on what's most important to you, and really give that some thought. Whether, in all aspects of your life, whether it's personal, business, whatever is going on, but really like hone in on what's filling your plate, mental plate, physical plate, all the different parts. And you do have the power to design and control that, to some degree. Dr. A in the book talks about, you have to do your responsibilities with your family and all that kind of stuff, but, you could get up earlier and get some of these personal things done before to set up your day. Like a lot of people, if you have a fixed mindset, and we see that a lot of times with our clients, well, this is the way it has to be because of da. And like, our job is to sort of like, when we're dealing with that, just kind of, I feel like sometimes like I'm a wedge kind of going in. Like, I was on a call with someone, it was a tip call, and it's a husband and wife, and the husband's like, oh, it's because of my career, I can't fuel at this time. I'm like, well, what do you do? It's like, I'm in real estate. I'm like, okay. I thought I was going to say like a surgeon or something. Like a surgeon, that is a little hard to go about a surgery to fuel. But when you're in real estate, I mean, come on, like if your health is important, there's a way to figure that out, if that's a priority. So obviously it wasn't. And sometimes we fall into that even with sleep. When you were, I was reading Element 19 about sleep, and, a lot of times we get into these bad habits of why our sleep is so off, with what we're filling our mind with that hour before bedtime. And Dr. A talks about that. Like, what are you doing that hour before bedtime? Are you preparing yourself for sleep, which will set you up for the next day? It's all good stuff. I think that we all could do a better job of using the Life Book and presenting concepts from the Life Book on our Facebook pages. We're more than just a diet. We are, we are a full program about lifestyle, about healthy habits. So why not talk about other things besides food and weight loss? Talk about sleep. Sleep does impact your health in a big way. And so often people are overlooking that and thinking that they have no choice. So that's pretty much what I have for you today. Anybody have any questions, thoughts, things you want to add? I can open the chat and see. I haven't looked around at what's going on in there. Carol Mantel is saying that she invited inactive clients to the virtual healthy happy hour and sent featured recipes. I love that idea. And I don't think I've posted this yet. There's a follow-up, and some groups may have already put this up, a follow-up graphic, and I see Jason is my screen. So Jason's one of the speakers tonight. With Jason and I'm blanking on who the other speaker is, talking about their journey. And so we can kind of, that's another touch point you can add as a layer if you want, that we're, kind of featuring that. And then we're going to have a, I don't know if it's, I think it'll be a post in the communities, and we'll give, if anybody's in different communities, we'll give you this with the recipes from the call tonight. So that'll be a nice, way to follow up. Lisa Ashray, yes, Jason, sorry, yes, I haven't met her yet. Okay, once the clients become a part of our organization, is there a way to see who these people belong to? Okay, so Tina, as an IPD, you can ask for a report. I did. I don't know if this is accessible to other people. A lot of times they usually, they're not always good with this, but sometimes they send you an email with the list, but I haven't seen it as a consistent thing. I know that I didn't get one, and the two people resigned, one under the other, and the other, I knew the top one was, and I got all her information. I didn't know the one under was going to resign also, so all her people are just rolled into my clients, and I'm like looking, I don't even know who they are. So no, unless I'm going to try to go back and get that. Yeah, okay. Any other thought? But the reason I was trying to get the information about where the client, more information about the clients, is I was thinking about giving them out as leads to people in different parts of the country if they're in the same time zone, because there was a lot of people. Tip for reaching down: you can export your client list from Connect into Reach. You can? I didn't know that. And use relationships field with coach name so you know who the client belongs to.
Allison, you can export it as a CSV, and the client report will also, if you do that, tell you where the clients came from. If you do it on a regular basis, you could go back.
Oh, you can go if that's a regular report you're running, and that way if it ever happens, you know where they originally where they were. That makes sense. But how do you take? You could take a CSV and put it into Reach. How does it?
Very
Whoa! Oh my God! I wasted so much time.
You might have to reconfigure the data a little, but that's the kind of thing you asked me for.
Oh my God. Well, that is just life-changing, because that was a lot of time.
I have a CSV file that I have that's the right format for what Reach wants to import. So then I just copy and paste the specific rows that it will use and import it that way.
Can you
and then I
that?
do create named lists.
That is amazing. Well, can you share the template in that FIBC group? Thank you. Wow.
And also, if you're saving that, if you're on a Mac, if you save that into the iCloud, you do not even have to export it, import it into the Reach app, because you pull it directly from your iCloud folder. So it saves a step and a conversion.
Wow, that's amazing. I think we should all do that. I mean, that way you have everything, I think that would be a really great, just trying to think that through. So you could do it for all the coaches under you too, then.
What I've done, exactly what you said, when I was reaching down, I sorted by coach name and started doing different spreadsheets, saving that sheet as the CSV file, blah, blah. And then I could go easily and pull it into the Reach. And I dated it, because obviously if you're doing it now, they will be different from 6 months before or 6 months forward. So you know who they are. If you're working a client, or if you're trying to connect with clients who the coach is not active. And, I went through to probably delete some that I knew some things about or added.
So were you able to create lists in Reach? Like, you have like groups. So could you just say this group is the clients under this coach?
You can title it whatever you desire.
But like, you get the information, like, because am I correct in saying you can, wow.
Right. You just cannot, though, you can't manipulate the data, the fields on a Reach app on a desktop. It's all on the phone. Or iPhone in this case, because you can only use iPhone. You can only use Reach on an iPhone, not on a Samsung.
Okay. Well, I think that's a really good homework assignment for us all to work on, because you never know who is going to resign in your business. And they could potentially have a lot of clients under them. So If I were you guys, I would be working on making sure you are gathering all that information so that, because I'm telling you, there's just pools of people who think they have no coach and have no relationship with anybody. And, you know, you, in your heart of hearts, you know where the weaknesses are. Like what happened in my business, it's not shocking, but like if you feel that way, you feel someone's not really engaged, you know, you really want to make sure you start to build relationships with their people, or at least have a way of reaching out to them if they decide to completely stop. Yeah. All right. That's my lesson for today. Okay. Anything else? I think we're pretty good, and I'm excited to see so many of you soon at Big Thinker. I'm really, really excited. This is going to be a lot of fun. Susie's been sharing a little bit about some of the topics, and there's a lot of valuable information that's going to be shared. Really, really, it's going to be great. Awesome. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.